you've heard by now that some are speculating a market crash in 2021. So here's what you need to know and how you can prepare for it. Ever since I started investing, every year I will hear someone talk about how the market is going to crash soon. And this time around, it's not too different. Since a few months ago, after the stock market recovered, there's more and more rumors and articles that are being published about the stock market crash in 2021. And we are getting more and more questions from our viewers like this. Is the stock market going to crash soon? What should we do? So let's start by looking at the chart. We have the infamous Black Monday market crash in 1987, the dot-com bubble in the 2000s, the global financial crisis in 2008, and the latest COVID-19. One lesson that I've learned from all these events and crashes. Looking at this chart from a bird's eye view or hindsight, short-term crisis presents long-term opportunity. Since the crash in March 2020 due to COVID-19, we have seen crazy things happening in the market. Prior to the COVID pandemic, the S&P 500 index was at its all-time high at 3,380 points. And when the COVID pandemic was declared, the market dropped more than 30% to 2,200 points. And then it rallied by more than 60% to 3,757 points by 31st of December 2020. As for the Malaysia market, we have not hit an all-time high yet. But the FBMK LCI, which is the performance of our top 30 company, has rebounded by more than 30% to 1,600 points. Especially now that many countries are starting to get their vaccines and people are expecting the economy to recover post-COVID. People are optimistic that businesses will have better earnings in 2021. Therefore, investors are pouring in their money into the stock market to buy companies that they believe will have a better earnings in 2021. The thing is, currently many people are saying that the market is overvalued and it's bound to have a market crash soon in 2021 as the economy is not good enough to support the current growth in the stock market. So will there be a stock market crash in 2021? To understand this better, let's break down what actually has been happening in the past few months since the stock market crash in March and why are people saying this. Before I go any further, you have to understand that the price of the stock market has very little to do with economic condition. It's more driven by demand and supply, buyers and sellers. When the supply is higher than the demand, the price of the stock goes down. And when the demand is higher than the supply, the price goes up. And to buy stocks, you need money. You can't buy stocks if you don't have money, right? When the stock market crashed in March, the government rolled out multiple measures to help boost the economy, such as the loan moratorium where people can defer their loan repayment for up to 6 months, then various cash handouts to the people. On top of that, when the economy was in a lockdown, shopping malls and restaurants were all closed and most people had to work from home. Since there's no need to pay loans and people can't go out to spend money, this means that there's more money for people who did not lose their job. On top of this, government also cut down the interest rate to low levels. Fixed deposits have become so unattractive that people started looking for other places to put their money, hoping to make more returns than fixed deposits. So, tada! People discovered the stock market. Since then, money just flowed into the stock market since the beginning of April, pushing the price of stock market up. How many of you remember the glove craze and the subsequent vaccine craze? Anyways, during this period, we have seen retail participation in the stock market has reached an all-time high. The other day, I was at the restaurant having lunch and I overheard the next table talking about stock investing. So this is what I do nowadays. Whenever I go out to a restaurant, I'll purposely talk very loudly about stock investing just to see if the next table will start talking about stock market too. Well, you should try and see what happens. I find it very often the next table will start talking about stocks as well. Never have I seen before this craze. Wait, I think I've seen this happen before. Before 1997? So, are we headed towards what happened in 1997? Well, I could be wrong, but I personally don't think so. There are a few factors that make today kinda different from 1997. First off, during 1995 to 1997, the deposit interest rates were around 7% to 9%. Yes, This means that just by putting your money in fixed deposit at the time, you will get about 7% to 9% return. So when people felt the market was too much risk, they were more likely to withdraw the money from stock market and place their money in fixed deposit to get 7 to 9% return. But today, with the low interest environment, there seems to be less incentive for people to withdraw from the stock market to place into bank deposits. And on the other hand, to think about it, during that time, people were willing to forgo 8% guaranteed returns for a gamble in the stock market. How crazy that is, right? Most of us today are investing simply because the interest rate is so low. We just have to invest because of that. So I believe the conditions today are a little bit different from that time. To top that off, these days there's more avenues to learn about stock investing as compared to 1997. I would assume that the general population is a little bit more educated at least. Well, I could be wrong. Who knows, right? Tell me what you think if the stock market is gonna crash like 1997. Anyway, back to the story. Since many now believe that business would recover as vaccines are distributed, therefore they are buying into the stocks of the businesses that they think will recover their earnings in 2021. At this point, many think that the valuations are too high based on current earnings. Well, yes, that's because it's based on current earnings, and 2020 has been really a bad year for many businesses, except a few. But when the earnings of the business recover, then valuation won't be that high? At least this is what they think. So will the earnings of the business really recover? That really depends. Although some activities I believe will certainly resume, but this pandemic as well really changed the way we behave to a certain extent, such as I believe more people will work from home and more businesses would make digital a priority. The point is, if the business earnings don't recover, yeah, I think investor might get disappointed and maybe sell off and lead to a drop in stock price. Having said all this, will the stock market crash in 2021? I really don't know, but I personally think short-term corrections could happen. As the economy recovers, people start to go out and spend more money and have less money to pump into the market, or whatever the reason may be. The truth is, we will never know if it will certainly crash or exactly why it crashed. Since I can't control or predict this, it is more important to focus on things that we can control so that we are well positioned as an investor to take advantage of any situation. First off, only invest in high quality businesses. Although in the short term, the price of a stock is affected by emotions, but over long term, a business with strong fundamentals will always bring growth. They also recover much more quickly after a market crash compared to businesses with low quality fundamentals. Secondly, like what was recommended in the book Intelligent Investor, always keep at least 25% cash and not more than 75% in cash in your investment portfolio. Having cash at hand will allow you to take advantage of the available opportunities that arise. The worst thing that can happen is to see an opportunity and you can't do anything simply because you don't have enough cash to do anything about it. Finally, prepare yourself emotionally. If you have made investment into high quality businesses, leave it alone even if the market crash. Don't panic sell. I've seen many people regret their panic selling decision, and I've done a fair share of panic selling myself and regret later. It's hard, but remember, a good business will always come out stronger and better. Like the Kelly Clarkson song.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Don't spend too much time thinking about when the market is going to crash. You will likely get it wrong anyway. It's more important that you manage your investment correctly so that you can weather through any market downturns. So pick a great stock, don't get emotional, and stay invested. Want to find out how to pick a great stock? Watch this video.